You may have asked yourself why people stay in Gotham. The city looks terrible and there seems to be a villain on the loose every other day. Well, today we are going to answer the question, why is there so much crime in Gotham? And what can be done about it? The easy answer would be mystical forces. There is a villain named Dr. Gotham who was an evil warlock who was captured and imprisoned in an underground tomb. Throughout time, evil radiated out from his burial site, which corrupted the minds of everyone who came near. Eventually, Gotham was built on top of this tomb. Now, I'm not really happy with this explanation, so for this video we will ignore that person and just focus on the criminogenic effects or factors that Gotham has. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a crime is an action or omission which constitutes an offense and is punishable by law. Crime is a function of chance and the simultaneous occurrence of the presence of a motivated perpetrator, attractive target, and the absence of adequate supervision. To find out why there is a lot of crime in Gotham, we first need to figure out what we mean by a lot of crime. To do this, I wanted to compare the crime rates of Gotham with other cities in the US. However, I cannot find any numbers on the crime rates of Gotham. According to this random Redditor, the crime rate is similar to the ones of New York City in the 1980s. Apparently, Gotham was based on New York as well. In the episode Joker's Favor of Batman the Animated Series, a driver's license can be seen that lists a Gotham area resident's hometown as Gotham Estates, NY. Anton Fust, production designer on the Batman 1989 movie, also stated that Gotham was based on the worst aspects of New York City. The Disaster Center reported 180,235 violent crimes in New York in 1980. This increased to 203,042 in 1989. In the DC universe, Gotham has the third highest crime rate. The second highest crime rate is in Bludhaven. This is because there is a lot of street crime, gangs, and a way too small police force. Nightwing is the only superhero who operates there as well. Hub City takes the lead with the highest crime rate because of their political corruption and white-collar crime. It's a poor city, so it basically forces the lower class to commit crimes in order to survive. To identify why there is so much crime, I will divide the rest of this video in 4 sections. First, we'll look at the infrastructure of the city that can contribute to crime. Second, we'll discuss the government, who is basically responsible for at least trying to minimize the amount of crime. Then we'll discuss the different types of crime that occur in Gotham City. Spoiler alert, but point 2 and 3 are related. Lastly, we will be taking a look at possible solutions. Gotham is a pretty large city. According to the Harlequinate episode of Batman the Animated Series, Gotham has a population of approximately 10 million people. According to the Arkham Knight game, it's 6.3 million. For reference, I'm Belgian and my country has a population of 11 million. The crime rates in urban areas are a lot higher than in rural areas. In the US, they can even be twice as high. In a city with a population of 6 to 10 million, that's not surprising since more people equals more poverty and more drugs, etc. Especially violent crimes are more prevalent in cities. Gotham has a train station which is a hot spot for crime. It provides all the necessary ingredients for crime, such as the convergence of possible offenders, attractive targets, and the absence of supervision or guardians. It's a transit space, so people usually never stay for long, and it's a place where lots of people come together and they remain anonymous. Not only are train stations liminal spaces, they've also become more of a meeting place. Nowadays, there are also shops and free Wi-Fi, so people tend to take out their wallets or their smartphones. This makes for easy targets of theft. Because you can leave a train station quickly, it also means that perpetrators see more opportunities because they can get away with it. Not only that, but the way the stations are built plays a role as well. It's not a good idea to have poor lighting, crowdedness, and co-location with risky facilities such as bars, shops, or even schools. All of these increase crime. A 2022 study found that when there are many people present in a station, there is an increase in theft. However, when fewer people were present, there was an increase in drug-related offenses and nuisance. Being co-located with different facilities also leads to different occurring crimes. Shops near a station lead to robberies. Parks, schools, or other public spaces near a train station lead to vandalism and damage. Stations near car parks are at a higher risk of theft and drug offenses. Nearly empty transit environments such as a train station have a higher risk of violent and sexual assault. An important preventive measure is social control, such as the presence of others. Gotham is not very lucky because they also have a harbor. Docks or harbors are infamously known for their role in drug trafficking. For example, in 2019, 61.8 tons of cocaine was confiscated in the docks of Antwerp, and only 1% of the containers gets checked. It also tends to go hand in hand with corruption and violence. Ports are difficult to monitor. This often concerns large open spaces with no fence or anything around them. There are also all kinds of activities that are carried out by different people, such as handling, processing, storage, and so on. So it's not always easy to find offenders. Substances can be imported in many different ways, such as on the ship, underneath the ship, hidden in cover cargo, inside containers, or even inside the structure of containers. This makes it really hard to control and check how many substances are imported. The problem with ports or harbors is not only drug trafficking, but also organized crime. Criminal networks are often driven by the constant desire for growing profits and expanding their illegal activities. They are increasingly working towards the infiltration of and control over major logistical points. Ports are the perfect place for this. These networks promote corrupt actions and practices by bribery and intimidation. Usually, employees of ports or transport companies get into drug trafficking because you want to make a quick buck, and money is one of the best motivators. Not only does Gotham have a train station and a harbor, but also their housing leads to higher crime rates. Although Gotham has many big houses such as the Wayne Manor, the Drake Manor, Falcone Manor, Falcone Mansion, and the Cobblepot Manor, when we look at the skyline, we mainly see high-rise buildings. The same when we walk around in Arkham Knights. Most buildings aren't houses. It's safe to assume that most people who live in Gotham live in an apartment. A high housing density is related to higher levels of crime. Apartments tend to be correlated with more burglaries, drug activity, gang activity, vandalism, and even domestic violence. One explanation is similar to what I mentioned regarding train stations. Apartments have corridors and stairwells. They don't provide any ownership or control. This makes it hard to enforce norms of acceptable behavior and to differentiate intruders from other residents. Newman calls this the defensible space, which means that the design of buildings or spaces are important in reducing crime. To make a space defensible, it needs territoriality, natural surveillance, and image. Territoriality is a barrier that defines whether a space is public or private. This could be something like a fence. Natural surveillance is the social control, such as residents who can observe or survey the area. This is harder in an apartment building because neighbors don't necessarily know each other, and there are also no windows that can look inside the corridors, so people cannot really see what's going on there. Windows looking outside are good as long as the view is not obstructed. Image is important in the sense that an area with a positive image will appear well maintained and taken care of. The overall appearance of an area has an impact on people's perception and vulnerability. Now, Gotham also has a Gotham National Bank or Gotham City Bank, however you want to call it. We know Two-Face likes to rob a bank every once in a while, and the Joker robbed his bank in the movie The Dark Knight. However, I can barely find any information on this bank, and especially how many times it has been robbed in the DC universe. Since I can't really find anything, I will just assume that it doesn't happen a lot. Since we're already comparing Gotham to New York, I looked up the stats. To my knowledge, Gotham only has one bank, while New York has around 120. According to the FBI, there were 102 bank robberies in New York City in 2021. Obviously, I don't know if certain banks get robbed more, but this would mean that every bank gets robbed roughly 0.85 times. So not every bank gets robbed at all. Thus, we can conclude that the Gotham Bank doesn't go through that many robberies. Which is good because banks can actually help catch criminals and even prevent crimes. They can assist in the repression of crimes such as money laundering. This is often used by organized crime groups, which is a prevalent type of crime in Gotham. If banks notice fishy behavior, they can report it, and this way they can even help intercept criminal networks. In conclusion, having a train station can lead to crime because a lot of people go there and they're not there for a very long time. Busy stations are correlated with more theft, although when the people are gone, there are more drug-related crimes and violent assaults. Ports are also correlated with drug trafficking and organized crime. This is mainly because of corruption, but also because harbors or ports are hard to monitor and secure. The type of housing in Gotham also plays a role. Gotham mainly consists of high-rise buildings which are correlated with more theft, vandalism, and drugs. How Gotham is organized plays a major role in how much crime there is and how they deal with it. I even feel like they play a much bigger part than most people realize. The perfect example is when people expect Batman to kill the Joker. Why would he? Is that Bruce's job? Is that his responsibility? No, it's up to the justice system to give him an appropriate punishment and to ensure that Blackgate Prison and Arkham Asylum are secure enough to keep the criminals inside their walls. And even if those facilities are secure enough, they require proper mental health practitioners, especially Arkham Asylum. Arkham is an asylum for the criminally insane, which implies that the people who stay there are mentally ill. There is a lack of psychologists and psychiatrists in Arkham that help treat the people. The lack of proper help leads to a lack of rehabilitation. Offenders who struggle with mental health disorders are more likely to re-offend once they get out, especially if they struggle with substance abuse, personality disorders, or schizophrenia. This is why it's important for the justice system to work together with mental health professionals. When offenders are treated for their mental health issues during their sentence, they can successfully reduce their amounts of stress, learn better ways to cope with their problems, and adjust their behavior better. Furthermore, inpatient treatment has shown to reduce recidivism, meaning that they're less likely to commit a similar crime once they're free. We know Arkham does have mental health professionals since Harleen Quinzel used to work there, but it's unclear what types of interventions they do and how many therapy sessions each patient has. So in Gotham, not only is there security and mental health professionalism lacking, so is there overall government. Certain villains have the goal to take over the city. One of them is the Penguin. He is motivated to go to Gotham just to take over and lead. We can see this in Penguin issue 4 by Tom King. Oswald is sent out of Gotham, but he wants to return to rule it. He is a crime lord and he notices that crime thrives there. And he isn't the only one though. In the Arkham City prequel comics, both Penguin and Joker rush their way to that side of the city just to take over and try to be a leader. I would argue that their delusion is that they actually believe they can rule over such a large city, especially since they don't always succeed. Sure, the Penguin has been mayor at some point, and so has the Joker in the Harley Quinn animated series. But in general, their plans do not work out the way they always want. They are mentally ill, which means that it's likely they have difficulty forming a concrete plan that actually takes every possible danger into account. This delusion, however, makes villains want to come to Gotham. Gotham is a huge city, so being able to rule that would show their status and importance. Of course, the government in Gotham is already corrupt. This has been the case way before Bruce even became Batman. Heck, even Martha and Thomas Wayne were trying to fix the corruption in the city. The city has been overrun by organized crime, and they will do whatever they can to keep their business going. This includes bribery of high-status people such as cops but also politicians. So the people responsible ensuring the city is safe are the exact same people who were doing the opposite. A great example of this is the Court of Owls. This court is a secret society of wealthy Gothamites who manipulate the city to maintain power and control. This includes homicide, mind manipulation, and home invasions. In the previous parts, we touched on different types of crimes already, especially when they're related to certain areas of the city, such as a port. We also already established that Gotham has the third highest crime rates in all of the DC cities. This is mainly because of their organized crime such as Cosa Nostra, but also crime families such as Falcone and Maroni. This includes the less traditional ones such as the criminal empire of Black Mask. It's not always clear what's meant by organized crime. After World War II, organized crime was defined as a good, structured, powerful criminal organization such as the mafia. Usually, they're in illegal entrepreneurship. According to the United Nations, organized crime means a structured group of 3 or more persons existing for a certain period and acting in concert with the aim of committing 1 or more serious crimes, or crimes punishable with a maximum deprivation of liberty of at least 4 years, in order to directly or indirectly obtain a financial or other material advantage. These crime families are the biggest reason Gotham struggles with all of their criminals. Organized crime ensures that you end up with an almost unstoppable, well-oiled machine of crime festering. It's constantly spreading and swallowing up more territory and oppressing people under its influence. It brings in drugs, weapons, sex trafficking, and so much more. 1/3 of organized crime groups are involved in drug trafficking. Other major criminal activities of organized crime groups include organized property crime, migrant smuggling, human trafficking, and excise fraud such as alcohol or cigarettes. About 45% of organized crime groups engage in more than one illegal activity. The organized crime families are the ones who keep crime under control and under their ruling. Everything happens within their group and they deal with it in their own way. When Batman takes out a big boss like Falcone, that's when the crazy villains come out to play, such as the Joker. This is one of the reasons why Batman is often accused of making things worse and creating the villains he fights. He can take down organized crime families, but they get replaced by something just as bad. Maybe even worse. The crime families are ruthless businessmen. They can be reasoned with. The same cannot be said about the other villains such as Scarecrow. Not only that, but when Batman takes out one of the big guys like Falcone or Penguin, the others want to take up that spot, which leads to gang wars. The leaders of organized crime groups are usually rich people, but Gotham isn't a wealthy city. There's a lot of poverty which leads people to commit crimes out of desperation. They must steal or deal in substances just to be able to buy food. Not only is poverty related to crime, but so is income inequality, which is really big in Gotham. Places with income inequality have the highest levels of crime. These places tend to have higher rates of violence, robbery, sexual offenses, drug and weapon offenses. Besides these issues, Gotham deals with all the other types of crime as well, such as homicides, burglaries, and so on. Not all of them are, of course, committed by the villains we know. The sad reality is that Gotham is very corrupt, to the point where it's almost dystopian to the lower classes. However, to the people in power, Gotham is a place filled with opportunities. This includes Bruce Wayne. He may not be power-hungry, but he is still quite privileged. To him, Gotham is his own battleground where he fights his personal war. To some, he may just be another symptom of how bad it has become in Gotham. Some people ask the question if Batman is at least partially responsible for the high crime rates in Gotham. He certainly does have villains who see him as a challenge and want to one-up him. These are villains such as the Joker and the Riddler. We know by now that the Joker has this weird, somewhat symbiotic relationship with Batman. The Riddler, however, likes to feel superior. He knows Batman is incredibly intelligent, so to confirm his belief about himself, he wants to beat him. Now, how can Gotham fix its issues? If Gotham is similar to New York City, they could just do what New York has been doing since 1999. Crime there has decreased until at least 2018. In 2009, for example, there was a decrease of 82% of homicides and a decrease of 94% for car thefts. Their decrease in crime is larger than in any other American city. An important factor for this is the changes they made in their police force. In the US, the police is enforced by their mayor. So when Mayor Giuliani was elected in 1993, things really started to change. He made Bratton the police chief, and one of the changes they made was simply invest more in police capacity. In the 90s, the police force grew a lot. Until the year 2000, there was a 40% growth. It did decrease a bit afterwards though. The police force in New York is not big compared to their population, but it is compared to their homicide rates. Because they had more cops, they were able to do more patrols on the street. This led to an increase in their stop and frisk method. I don't fully agree with this strategy. It basically means that they look out for suspicious looking people and search those people. Stereotypes can play a role in this, so it's not reliable and was used way less when Mayor de Blasio was elected, since he recognized that mainly racial stereotypes played a role. Doing this, however, they made more arrests for small crimes, and they did this to get rid of all types of criminals. Anyway, because their police capacity increased, there were also more detectives. They started bigger searches regarding drug trafficking. This did not necessarily lead to less drug use, but it did lead to a decrease in drug violence and other harmful effects of drug trafficking. By investigating this more, it led to less deaths, dealers, and users who passed away because of violence. Another thing New York implemented was the CompStat system. This system is made to identify hotspots for crimes in cities. A hotspot is an area with a higher rate of crime or disorderly events. When a hotspot is identified, targeted interventions can be implemented, such as patrol. I'll give an example. I studied in the Belgian city Leuven. There was one area in the city that had a lot more sexual-related crimes compared to other parts of the city. They identified that this spot was darker and more hidden. So what they did was put streetlights there, and that solved the issue. Sometimes it's that easy. Gotham has a big organized crime issue. Fixing that is a lot harder because of corruption in the city. An important step Gotham must implement is informants and joint investigation teams. These are investigators from outside of Gotham who specifically investigate organized crime and corruption. For example, the UK has the Serious and Organized Crime Agency. Research shows that interception of communication, wiretaps, and informants are the most useful. However, these are things Gotham could not necessarily do on its own, especially since there's always a possibility that there is a fear of revenge from the criminals, but also the people in charge are corrupt. Besides that, the Gotham City Bank could work together with the police to prevent money laundering schemes, which are often used by criminal organizations. In regard to the Gotham City infrastructure, different things can be changed as well. When it comes to train stations and ports, it's important that there is security, for example at entrances or platforms. There also shouldn't be too many hidden places where people can hide stuff or even themselves. So an open place with some workers, such as security, is ideal. It is also important that the space is maintained. This shows that the station is owned and controlled by someone. Similar things need to happen at ports. Ideally, there would be more security on site, but also for containers. This could be done by AI as long as the people responsible are not corrupt, which isn't always a guarantee, especially in Gotham. In general, Gotham could hire more police. In New York, this led to fewer thefts, car thefts, and burglaries. They could also identify hotspots for specific types of crimes. This way, they can fight crime in a more targeted manner. New York also tried to take as many guns off the streets as possible, which led to less violence. Infrastructure needs to be open to ensure security and social control. There also needs to be a sense of ownership that gives the people an impression that this property is being maintained and controlled. So solving all of these crime issues would first and foremost cost a lot of money, which is already hard in Gotham. And before you go to the comments and type, "But why doesn't Bruce Wayne spend his money to do good?" He does. Bruce already invests a lot of money in fundraisers for the police, he does a lot of charity work, he supports several philanthropic projects, he funds free healthcare, orphanages, schools, and so much more. He's trying his best on all fronts. I briefly touched on the fact that Batman may be responsible for crime in Gotham as well. I didn't go too deep into it because I already made a video about it, which you can watch right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Whacking noise.